Coming up on Carolina Week.
It's terrifying.
A scary moment on North Street will take you live to the scene of an assault on a UNC student.
We'll see how a man's best friend really can change his life.
I'm Samantha Ward in San Francisco. The Panthers have arrived in the city by the bay for Super Bowl 50. We'll take you there.
All that and more. Carolina Week
Starts right now.
From the UNC School of Journalism and Mass Communication, covering Carolina in HD, this is Carolina Week.
Personal safety is at the forefront following a recent incident just off campus. I'm Sharon Nunn.
And I'm Ben Smart. Thanks for joining us. UNC sent out an alert about the attack, the third such incident in less than 3 months. Reporter Caroline Ressler joins us live from North Street. Caroline, tell us what happened out there.
Thanks, Ben. It was right here on North Street where the victim was walking home from a night out when she says she was attacked. It happened at 2 a.m. just 2 blocks from campus in a popular student neighborhood. Someone jumped out and grabbed the victim, a 21-year-old UNC student, and held her in a chokehold. I talked to Lieutenant Misa Moore of the Chapel Hill Police Department, who says there was a struggle.
And we responded and then learned that a man had attacked the victim from behind, that she fought back and he ran off.
Some students, like UNC senior Maggie Zabrine, are on edge.
Honestly, it makes me feel really uncomfortable that something like this would happen on our street.
Zabrine lives on North Street, a neighborhood she says she used to think was safe, but now she's not so sure, and she's not the only one with doubts.
Do you think Chapel Hill is safe? I used to, and now not so much.
This isn't the first time safety concerns have surfaced.
We were walking down and he just kind of came out of nowhere.
In November, I spoke with a first year who showed me where she and her friend were almost kidnapped one evening as they walked home. The suspect in that incident, Keith Webster Jr., is behind bars, but police have yet to find Friday night's attacker. However, Lieutenant Misa Moore says the incident is isolated.
Depending on the crime, our numbers are either the same or lower than they have been in the past.
Chapel Hill Police Captain Chris Blue says he wants people to be at ease.
This town really has never been safer. There are no areas that I would say don't walk through there.
Police are still investigating what happened on Friday. In the meantime, they're encouraging anyone with information to contact them. Now, Ben, I talked with a friend of the victim, and she described her friend as tough as nails.
That's Caroline Ressler live from North Street. Thank you, Caroline. The UNC employee injured by a burst of electricity earlier this month is still in recovery. Galen Bishop was working in a transformer vault when an arc flash struck and burned him. A family friend created a GoFundMe page to raise money for recovery expenses, and more than $21,000 have come in so far. His wife tells me more than 40% of his body was burned. Doctors tell her he's still in critical condition and will be in the burn unit until at least October.
Duke University officials are cracking down on sorority activities after a member was hospitalized for alcohol poisoning at a rush event last week. The 10 Duke Panhellenic chapters are now allowed to host only study breaks, sisterhood events, chapter meetings, and community service events. The student is expected to make a full recovery. A 2014 UNC graduate's death is bringing attention to the need for mental health support.
And so it goes, and so.
A vigil Friday in the pit honored the life of Priya Balegi, who committed suicide on January 11th. She suffered from anxiety and depression, and before her death, she created a GoFundMe page to help others with mental illnesses. Her sister hopes to carry on her legacy.
The people in their life should be understanding and supportive of them, no matter how they know them, because mental illness is mental illness, and we should all try to be there for each other.
So far, Bolega Pell's GoFundMe page has raised nearly $35,000. The adolescent suicide rate in North Carolina has doubled since 2010, and as reporter CB Cotton shows us, it's a number that one state organization is trying to change.
I was being molested by my cousin,
Joseph Beiser was molested from the time he was 12 until 17.
And because I didn't talk about it, it kind of built up and I lost control over something I thought I had control over.
That something was taking his own life. He tried twice.
My first attempt was with a knife, and this past time, this most recent time, I tried to step into traffic.
Beiser tried. In North Carolina in 2010, 23 succeeded. In 2014, 46. From 23 to 46 suicides. UNC psychology professor Mitch Prinstein studies teen suicides. He says teens are more likely to take their life after one of these scenarios.
Breakup of a boyfriend with a boyfriend or girlfriend, but also peer victimization. We see loneliness, fights with parents, people who have a spat with a friend.
The North Carolina Child Fatality Task Force is searching for new prevention methods.
We'll examine the issue by hearing presentations from experts, the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, Injury and Violence Prevention Branch from the Division of Public Health.
Still, Prinstein says the prevention starts at home.
Suicide is something that always should be taken very seriously. If you think your child is at risk, you must ask them.
And for those considering suicide, Beiser offers this advice.
You need to be able to find some speck of light, because you're punching a bill that you don't have to cash. My light was my son.
In Chapel Hill and Raleigh, I'm CB Cotton reporting.
The North Carolina Child Fatality Task Force had its first meeting on Monday and will meet 3 times before presenting information to the General Assembly.
Here's a name you might remember, Brian Stevenson. He's the author of the first-year reading book, Just Mercy. After serving 30 years on death row in Alabama, the subject of the book, Anthony Hinton, now works with the Equal Justice Initiative, the organization responsible for proving his innocence. Hinton kicked off the lecture series, Race, Innocence, and the End of the Death Penalty series that continues on February 8th and is open to the public.
UNC Student Congress hosted the student body presidential debate last night, and only 2 students have enough signatures to run this year. Students packed Bingham Hall to hear the candidates discuss their platforms. Junior Wilson Sink answered questions about bike share programs and Margaret Spellings, while Junior John Taylor talked about in-state tuition and the role of student government. After the debate, Student Congress declared Taylor the winner by an 11-10 vote. The polls open on February 9th.
A student-led initiative is leading to a safer place for the LGBTQ community on campus.
The university, first transgender housing option will be available very soon. Stay with us.
Carolina students have been pushing for LGBTQ safe residence halls since 2012. Reporter Madison Cavalcari tells us how a part of Cobb Dorm is being transformed into Pride Place.
For first-year Brennan Lewis, a dorm room is home. It's where Lewis gets ready for class, relaxes, and does homework. Hidden around the room are clues to tell you a little more about Lewis.
I identify as genderqueer, which means, for me, it means that presenting as either gender or being identified as either gender makes me really uncomfortable.
Lewis likes the dorm this year, but says the process was stressful.
It's just always something that's on my mind, and I know it's not for a lot of people, so in that way I feel different.
Lewis found a safe place, but says others aren't so lucky. In 2012, efforts to establish LGBTQ housing were focused on gender nonspecific options, meaning a student could live with someone of the opposite sex. The Board of Governors struck down that option in 2013. But Lewis, along with 4 other students, found another way.
Pride Place next year is planned to be on the 2nd floor of Cobb, and I actually already live there, right in the middle, right up there.
That's first-year Olive Fadali. She worked with Lewis to start Pride Place, establishing it as a new residential learning program instead of gender nonspecific housing. They both plan to live there when it opens in the fall.
I want it to be a family, to be a group of people who all really care about each other and really support one another.
Lewis says the ban on gender nonspecific housing won't keep Pride Place from being a positive place.
There's no reason for you to include people in your life who are not going to support you. So having a safe space to come home to at night, that's really fantastic, but also just in your day-to-day relationships.
Applications to live in Pride Place next fall are open until Sunday. In Chapel Hill, I'm Madison Cavalcari.
Now, this isn't gender non-specific housing. It's themed housing for anyone who identifies as LGBTQ. Roommates must still live with someone of the same sex assigned at birth.
12 and a half hours of continuous freestyling helped one group break a Guinness World Record on Sunday. The group No 9 to 5 Music began freestyling at 10:30 Sunday morning at the DSI Comedy Theater. A bass guitarist and drummer set the beat as artists took turns freestyling verses. Spectators stopped in to enjoy the show and signed a world record witness survey confirming they had observed a continuous hip-hop freestyle session. The freestyling continued until 11 that night, breaking the previous world record of 12 hours and 5 minutes.
Nationally, people in prison have had a 67% chance of going back within 3 years after getting out. But Jacqueline Lee shows us a program that's taking hold in North Carolina that's slashing those numbers.
Meet Roxy. Roxy's the kind of dog that's used in a special prison program, and that program is working in more ways than one.
It feels good to be free.
After being in prison for nearly 6 years on weapons and drug charges, Danny Raleigh is making the most of a second chance.
I was incarcerated. I got in trouble and was looking at it a long time.
Prison wasn't easy.
You could probably drop dead and they would walk right by you.
But he found happiness from an unlikely source.
The Chance was my little prize.
Raleigh trained Chance and more than 30 other dogs at the Forsyth Correctional Center.
Jump! Yes!
He was part of New Leash on Life, a 10-week adoption training program that partners shelter dogs with low to medium risk inmates.
Green bell. Yes. Well, I had to learn how to be gentle, be easy, change my voice at the right time, bond with the dog.
18 prisons across North Carolina are active in the program. Candy Jones helped bring it to Winston-Salem.
To take these basically unwanted creatures and to put them together and see them redeem each other. This is the most wonderful program.
The likelihood of a North Carolina prisoner being rearrested after release is 29%. For those completing the program, the rate is 5 times lower, only 6%. It's been 4 years since Raleigh got out.
It gave me back a life. I began to be able to look at myself in the mirror. I began to be able to have feelings for my fellow man.
He now has his own dog training business, Humane Society, the very place that provides dogs to the prison. It's been 5 years since Raleigh trained Chance.
I wonder if you're going to recognize him.
Who is that? Hey, baby. Hey, baby.
Even though they've spent years apart, they're still a bond.
And to say a prayer.
And to say your prayers. That's right.
This program has a huge effect on dogs as well. Over 2,100 dogs. Meet Roxy. Roxy's the kind of dog that's used
in Salem. Thanks, Jack.
The groundhog might not have seen its shadow this year, but that doesn't mean spring is right around the corner just yet.
David Dickinson says we'll be seeing rain showers and cooler temperatures for the weekend.
And this is Carolina Week Weather. I'm meteorologist David Dixon. Obviously, it's raining outside. And how long that rain is going to last and how much of it, that's a good question. Let me show you all this rain we've been seeing. So this is actually part of a long line of storms that is with this cold front that we're going to be experiencing in the next few days or so. But let's see all of this rain. It goes all the way up from Maine to the Gulf Coast. And you can see by the deep yellows and dark reds, those are some severe storms. And we have seen a few severe storms here in North Carolina and a few tornadoes in South Carolina, so much that the National Weather Service actually put out a marginal risk for our region. And what does a marginal risk mean? Well, it takes into account a few factors. So a few of those factors are going to be tornadoes, rain, wind, and hail. In this case, we're not going to see two of those things. Tornadoes, very low risk, and hail, no risk at all. The main players in this storm are going to be flooding and wind, as we're going to get about an inch of rain over the next 24 hours and wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour. So be sure to bring an umbrella or a rain jacket into tonight, because this rain is going to stay into tonight, all because of this cold front draped down the East Coast. And there's a low pressure system just above us, pushing out that high pressure that we've been seeing the past couple days with those warm and clear conditions, and behind it is much cooler temperatures. So for tonight, cloudy and cooler with the chance of rain dropping in to the lower 50s, and colder conditions coming in again into tonight. So right around 6 o'clock, 70 degrees into tonight, and dropping by tomorrow morning to nearly 60 degrees. And by this time tomorrow, 49 degrees, so nearly a 20-degree drop or more over 24 hours. So that's going to be fairly significant. This long line of storms in the cold front is going to stall out past North Carolina coast, and behind it is that high pressure system bringing in those much cooler conditions and clear skies for this weekend. I'm not ruling out a stray shower here or there to the east, and cloudy conditions with the temperature of around 50 degrees or so. And so for this week, you can see temperatures below freezing Thursday night and Friday night with 31 degrees, and Saturday and Sunday much warmer conditions than Friday, but still temperatures around freezing for tomorrow night. Sunday night, and then we'll get much warmer conditions and clear skies to get rid of these gloomy conditions. And I got to tell you, I'm enjoying the rain, but it was a little too much to soak up, especially walking here. I was completely drenched.
Oh yeah, it was hot and wet, just humid and nasty.
It was bad. Yeah, this morning I looked outside and it was so hazy I couldn't tell if it was fog or rain, so thank goodness I made it here nice and dry. I hope you all did too.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, David.
One of the biggest days in college football is finally here, signing day.
My name is Dominique Ross. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. I play linebacker, and I am a Tar Heel.
My name is Chad Surratt, quarterback from Denver, North Carolina, and I am, and for always will be, a Tar Heel.
And the Super Bowl is just 4 days away. Reporter Samantha Ward is there, and so are some former Heels getting ready to play in the championship game. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm Kendra Douglas with sports. Duke head basketball coach Mike Krzyzewski visited Duke University Hospital Monday night. According to Duke Athletics, Coach K felt ill after a team meal. Doctors recommended he rest instead of traveling to Georgia Tech for the team's game yesterday. Coach K is 68 years old and entering his 36th season as Duke head coach. Today is signing day, and the UNC football team welcomed a new freshman class. Football analyst Corey Smith is live in the studio. Corey, how's the team looking for next season?
Thanks, Kendra. We might be in the thick of conference basketball play, but Larry Fedora is already making power moves for the upcoming football season. So far, we have 25 new commits, two of which are four-star recruits, and we're the 35th national ranking in the United States. Now, I think this is a lot more than recent years, mostly because of the undefeated at home season last year and making it to the ACC championship game. The highest-rated player who signed a letter of intent at Carolina today was four-star quarterback Chaz Surratt. The North Carolina native originally committed to Duke University, but decommitted last summer. Here's what Coach Fedora has to say about Surratt.
Super Bowl opening night, or it could also be called the Super Bowl of all media events. It was filled with coaches.
Gene Chizik was in desperate need of linebackers after losing fifth-year seniors Shaquille Rasad and Jeff Schottmer. Chizik got his wish as four linebackers signed letters of intent, including three-star Dominique Ross. Chizik expects Ross to play a big part in improving the Tar Heels' rush defense. And that's it for the Carolina football section. We're looking forward to seeing what comes of these new Tar Heels and how they'll fit into the Carolina system. Kendra?
That was football analyst Corey Smith live in the studio. Thanks, Corey. Carolina Carolina football team has promoted Chris Kapilovic to offensive coordinator. Kapilovic has been on the coaching staff for 4 years as the offensive line coach. He's Larry Fedora's longest tenured assistant. The two also work together at Southern Miss. 4 days and counting until the Panthers take on the Broncos in Super Bowl 50. Carolina Week reporter Samantha Ward is in San Francisco for all the hoopla leading up to the big game.
Super Bowl opening night, or it could also be called the Super Bowl of all media events. It was filled with coaches, players, fans, and media from everywhere. I knew it was going to be crazy, but I didn't expect to see this. Or this. Yeah, I clearly came underdressed to the party. And of course, the biggest crowd was surrounding Cam Newton. But don't worry, I elbowed my way to the front. Next, I caught up with UNC alum Sylvester Williams, defensive tackle of the Denver Broncos, and Trey Boston, safety for the Carolina Panthers.
Man, I think one of the lessons I had coached is one thing my coach always said, play smart, fast, and physical. And I think that's one thing that kind of stuck with me coming out of college. Coach Fedora preached that to us every day. It's one of his sayings, and I think that's one of the biggest things I just take with me everywhere I go.
It's amazing to still have all the love that I was getting at UNC and then have it transfer right over to Carolina Panthers. You know, it's been a blessing. Not only do I get my UNC fans, but I have State and Duke fans. So that makes me feel like I'm like doubling up on like love that I shouldn't be getting, but I really appreciate it because it makes me feel like I'm doing something right for the Tar Heels.
Then I ended the night with Greg Jennings, wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins, running off with my microphone.
I'm dabbing with the guys. I'm dabbing with the guys. What? Hey, fellas. I know I'm interrupting, but we got to dab one time. We got to dab one time. See what I'm saying? I'm dabbing one time. Dabbing.
Don't worry, I eventually got the mic back. In San Francisco, I'm Samantha Ward reporting.
You guys, Super Bowl 50. I'm cheering for the Panthers. Who are you guys cheering for?
Of course.
Well, actually, none of my teams made it to the Super Bowl this year, so I'm going to be watching it for the commercials and entertained by that.
Ben, you're from North Carolina now. It's time to go for the Panthers.
I know. I'm actually from Texas originally, so I'm loyal to my home team.
Texas can have you back. Thanks, Kendra.
Well, many seniors are finding unique ways to spend their free time this semester.
After finding a way to increase their free time. Next on Carolina Week.
You ever feel like you have too much time on your hands? Yeah, me neither. But many seniors lighten their workloads with the help of the Senior Spring Underload. Gabriella Sorelli shows us how they're spending all that extra free time they freed up.
Okay, the topic is mullet.
UNC seniors and roommates Connie Rhodes and Julia Uribe are exercising their brains tonight, but not by doing homework. The two are approved for Senior Spring Underloads, reduced course loads to fewer than 12 credit hours.
All of my other semesters at UNC have been pretty jam-packed with classes, so it's kind of nice to have a little break semester where you can kind of enjoy everything around you.
I took all of my really hard math classes last semester, and so I finished my major. And that was really hard, so then I really just wanted a break semester.
Rhodes wants to use her time to make the most of her last weeks in Chapel Hill.
I have just been looking for jobs after graduation and reading a lot and like trying to find concerts or art museums to go to.
Uribe is taking the opposite approach, using her open weekdays to travel.
I just figured this is my last time in my life when I can really just take time off and go anywhere I want to go.
The Office of Academic Advising reports that in the College of Arts and Sciences alone, more than 900 seniors are approved for spring underloads. Kyle Conroy is using every free hour in his schedule to direct Company Carolina's production of Hairspray.
Getting to do it and having the space to has been very, very rewarding, considering the time here has been just mostly classes and getting things done, and now having that little chunk to do something I'm passionate about is nice.
With rehearsal schedules, he doesn't exactly feel like he's underloading.
I don't know if I could have done it had I not underloaded, because now I'm more busy than I've ever been.
So whether it's spending a night relaxing or following a passion, UNC seniors who are underloading have a little extra time to enjoy Carolina before time runs out. In Chapel Hill, I'm Gabriella Sorelli.
Man, those seniors are so lucky. I'm also a second semester senior, but I'm in 20 credit hours.
Oh, goodness.
So I was not as lucky as they are to have all that free time in my hands, but you really have to do what you got to do to graduate on time, Sharon.
I guess so. You just seem like you're enjoying your semester too much.
Yeah, I wish.
Oh yeah, well I could actually graduate in December, so.
Oh, nice. Hopefully you can do an underload. Yeah. Well, that does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks for watching and good night.